to the cloud. All right. Hey, Rob here for our BSPU call. Going to talk about content that makes you look like a rock star and that pre-sells clients on working with you. Hopefully this does not mean that you need to completely rewrite your book, Gary, since you're 3 days from being done with it. but this is stuff that should be in your book and threaded throughout. So I'm going to share about that. I'm going to start the video here in just a second, so I'll reintroduce it and then we'll start rolling with it. Hey guys, Rob Kosberg here with Bestseller Publishing. So good to be with you today for another one of our calls. Got something really good for you. For those who are in the process of writing your book or writing book 2, 3, 4, or whatever, I want to talk today about how you can create amazing content that serves your audience and that makes you look like a rock star in the process because it actually pre-sells clients on working with you. So just a little while ago, it's pretty rare, but I had a client come into the office. I say that's pretty rare because we have clients in almost 20 countries around the world. Most of our clients come to us via the online marketing that we do. But I did a local event and brought on a new client from that local event that was just in my office, an hour ago, dropping off a large check for a 30K program. And I asked him, we had a great conversation. I asked him, obviously we got to know each other at a local event here. And I said, hey, tell me, what really helped you? What really, brought you to us? He goes, well, you gave me a copy of your book. I read your book, and especially the profit part of it, like everything came together for me at that point. I saw all the examples of how your clients are using their books, and I couldn't wrap my head around it until I saw it in your book, and I knew that you were the one that I wanted to work with because you had the model put together that would make me successful. Bam! So my book did all the heavy lifting. We met them initially and gave a copy of my book, but then my book did the heavy lifting to help that client to be engaged with us because he could see from the content in the book that we were the company that he wanted to work with. That is exactly what you want to create when you create your content. Now, obviously, I'm talking about somebody writing a nonfiction book, a consultant, an expert, an entrepreneur, a speaker, someone like is selling additional information products or a high-ticket service or bringing clients to you for coaching, consulting, etc. And so I wanted to share kind of what the magic was, if you will, within the book that makes you look like a rock star without, having to say you're a rock star, right? And pre-sells clients to, become clients of yours. So what is threaded throughout the book, and especially in the profit section, is what I teach my clients to do when they're creating content. We talk about creating content similar to how a great TED or TEDx speech is done. You start with story, and story that creates context for who you are. It could be a story from your life, but as well as from your life, you want to have stories of people that have put your principles into practice or people that you've worked with and created an amazing result for so that their dreams came true, that their fears were dissolved, their aspirations were realized because they worked with you, because they followed your principles. Then you go into the main points of a chapter that you want to make, and then you close strong and send people to the next steps. Anyway, what I want to focus on is the story. You see, throughout my book, I have threaded stories of clients who work with me and have worked with Bestseller Publishing and have done amazing things. And I've done that in a way that just doesn't make me look like, oh, all I'm doing is bragging, but I've done it in a way to teach, here is a principle that you can follow. Here is a path that you can follow within Publish, Promote, Profit, just like Shanda followed when she used her book in conjunction with a free giveaway and coaching to sell over $409,000 in a 4-month period and get 11,000 plus leads, 7,700 actual telephone numbers. It's the same story that I talk about in Florencia, right? Douglas Bowman and John Mullen. I talked about how for their nonprofit, they used their book and got an introduction to the president of Mozambique, who loved the book and actually asked to rewrite the foreword for the book, which we included in here, and then we're asked to speak at the United Nations. So I use that story. Why? Because people that have nonprofits are interested in raising money, and I want them to feel like, wow, that's a model that I can follow. I can use my book to follow in that model. For coaches, they can say, well, I can use my book to follow in the model of Shanda, right? Or, Kaylin Toole, who we helped her with her book, Big Fat Lies, and she uses her book to do over 6 figures a month as part of a free plus shipping funnel. And if you know what that is, and you don't have a free plus shipping funnel associated with a book, then you say, you know what? I can follow that path. I can follow that model. And it's true for book after book after book of our clients. So when I put this together, with the idea of every single chapter, I want multiple stories and case studies within the chapter that help that potential client that is reading this book because they picked it up, because they're thinking of writing a book, or because they've written one that wasn't successful, or because they don't know the next steps to actually take. I want them to see an example that they feel like, wow, that's someone like me. That's somebody that I can actually follow in their footsteps. Now, you may not have, hundreds of examples to draw from, but if you have even just a few examples, then you can pull out nuggets and pieces of those stories to share throughout threads and chapters of your book so that people can put themselves in that client's shoes, feel like, oh, okay, for the first time, I get it. Just like the client that came into my office today, delivering a check to us and getting started with us, who said, you know what, when I read the profit section, I got it. And in fact, it changed the entire trajectory of his book. He was thinking of writing a book that was more life stuff. And instead he said, you know what, I'm going to write a book with the same idea, but I'm going to focus it on my expertise and sell to that marketplace, because he saw others that were doing that exact same thing. So now here's the truth. There'll be lots of people that read this book that won't become clients of ours and pay our highest level prices for our programs, right? But that's okay. They're still learning and they're still growing. Like, it's still of tremendous value to those people, and they can embrace it. They can say, you know what, I get it. You need to do the same exact thing with your book. Every story, every great example and case study. Karen, who became the National Association of Professional Woman of the Year because of her book and all the media that it led to and speaking engagements. You want to tell that story, and you want to talk about, hey, this is an organization of 700,000 women, and here is how Karen did it. Here were the steps that led to it, from the book to the media, to her own radio show, to the speaking engagements, to she had to be noticed by the NAPW, and they noticed her. It's the same thing that you can do. So break down the steps, break down the stories of success that you have personally and that your principals have gotten for your clients or people that you have helped. Break down those steps and make it so clear in your stories that when people read it, they go, you know what? I can do this. I get it. And you know what? For the first time, I see a path to the end goal and result that I want to achieve. That's exactly what you want to do. It makes you look like a rock star. You don't have to brag. You're telling stories of successes so you can help other people to be successful. And guess what? They look to you because you're the one who made that happen. You're the one that taught the principles. You're the coach. You're the consultant. You're the service provider. You're the entrepreneur. You're the expert that actually led the way and guided them along the journey. Hey, I hope this is helpful for you. Do me a favor, leave a comment below. Tell me a little bit about your business. Tell me a little bit about the book that you want to write. Ask some questions. I'm happy to engage. I'm happy to answer and do the best I can to serve you. And maybe one of these stories of successes will fill in the blank for you, right? Rob Kosberg, Bestseller Publishing. Talk to you again soon. Bam. Done with that. Shared it with you. Hopefully it made sense. What do you have? What can I answer for you? So you have heard me many times talk about how the book needs to be laid out, right? A nonfiction book. You want to lay it out like the TED Talk. with story to create context, story that leaves an open loop and then leads into your point 1, 2, 3, point 1 only, and then a great conclusion and next steps. But this is a little bit deeper of an understanding of what the story needs to be. See, the story, of course it can be your story, but if you have any successes, and by the way, if you're selling some kind of expertise, you need to have some successes. You know what I mean? Like what I tell my clients, what I would tell you is if you don't have successes where you've helped somebody else to achieve the result, then you know what? Find 3 people, do it for free, get raving fans, right? Get case studies, and then use those results and those examples within your book, within your business, in video testimonials, social proof, etc. But you obviously do have that, and because you have that, you need to use it. You need to use it to teach others to achieve the kind of success that that either you have and or you have helped others to have as well. So what can I answer for you? How can I help you? It could be totally off topic, doesn't matter to me. I'm happy to dive in. Hi, Christy. How are you? Christy says the event was great. Thank you. You are super welcome. So glad that you were there. Pete says, thanks, Rob. You are welcome. Jill, how are you? It says Alaska woman, but who else is there? That's the Alaska woman, but Jill. I assume it's Jill. I have a question, but it's not about a story for a book. It's about a webinar. Happy to answer your question about a webinar, Jill. Just it needs to be such that I can answer it here in this. Let's see, Gary and Jill, you didn't ask the question, so go ahead and type it in and let me answer it for you. While I'm doing that, I'll answer Gary's. Gary says, I'm adding a unique and nice color picture per chapter to create a more compelling visual part to the book. Does that make sense? Am I buying rights for each photo in each chapter and sharing high resolution with your team? Is it a good idea? Okay, so is it a good idea? You know, some books need amazing color photos and beautiful resolution, right? This is Mia Moran's cookbook. It is beautiful. It is gorgeous. I'm really proud of the job that the team did on this book. Amazing. A book like this needs to have amazing high resolution color photos. Now, what's the drawback? What's the negative? This is super expensive to print, okay? So this has to sell on Amazon for like $40 as a minimum because it's going to cost her like $20 just cost to have this book printed because of all the 4-color interior photos. On the contrary, my book right here, no 4-color photos. There are some images towards the back though, but no 4-color photos. This cost me just under $3 to print. So I can use this very easily and get it into people's hands. I can ship it out. Last month we shipped out like 100 of these, some of them to you so I could get great videos and endorsements, some of them to our potential clients that will sit on their desk until they finally go, I need to get my book done. And who's that guy again? Oh yeah, Rob, I'm going to call him. So it's harder to do, Gary, when you have 4-color images in each one of your pages, because your book's going to be super expensive to print because of those 4-color images. So you need to decide, is that important enough for you to do it, right? You need to decide that. I'd rather have a book that's $3 to print and get it into tons of people's hands than 20 books to print and, you know, it's harder to get it into thousands of people's hands at your own cost on your own dime. As a follow-up question, you says, crypto economy, trademark, the new term I made, Bitcoin, blockchain, and bad guys, very how-to and technical. You know, it may be very how-to and technical, but why color photos on a blockchain book? I don't know that you need color photos. Sounds like maybe I should dump the photos or leave them in as black and white. That's what I'd do. I would dump them. I'd leave them in only if necessary, but honestly, I don't think they're that necessary. You know, you decide that. That's up to you. But I have really simple images. I do have a few images, like I got stuff like that in my book, you know, and so it's grayscale. I do have a few images, you know, that, you know, of client successes. That's Kaylin's book there that I just showed you. I have on my desk right here. That's that book. Talked about her success, etc. So you can have that. It's grayscale, and it's still under $3 for me to print. Stephen says, I have a question about the practical putting together of my book. Okay, I'll do my best to answer it. You have to try to ask it in a way that I can answer it for you. So, type in the question, Stephen, let me know about the practical putting together question of your book. Happy to answer. Jill says, how do you use texting? Like Phil said in the train video about asking people to text him during the speech. Is it a program or just his phone number? Can you use an autoresponder? So there are services. CallFire is one of those services. You can look them up. We use CallFire. There are services that you can piece together, and there are some services that do it all in one. So for example, when someone opts into our webinar, we ask them, hey, would you like a text reminder? And if they put their telephone number in, it automatically goes into our text reminder service, and they get a text reminder that the webinar is starting. So you can use a service like CallFire to do that, Jill. That's not complicated to do. Well, it would be for me, but I have a tech team to help me with that. Steven says, this is Joanna of Joanna's Raw Foods. Okay, hi Joanna. For some reason, it says that you're on the line as Steven. So sorry, Joanna. So Joanna, let me know what your question is about putting together the book. Happy to answer it for you. Tangina says, reviews. How do you go about getting people to leave reviews? Okay, so you're in the program, so you have our BSPU stuff. You got to go through the course because the course lays that out. I'll take a minute and give you kind of a simple strategy, but the course lays out how you do it. So the first thing you need to think about is lowering the price of your book, and my suggestion is to lower the digital price to 99 cents, as cheap as possible, for a period of time. And then you should go to your friends, your family, your sphere of influence, people on your email list, current clients or past clients, and basically say this to them. And we give you copy in the course of all this. And those of you that are done-for-you clients will walk you through all this, so don't worry about needing to go through the course. If you're a done-for-you client, we're going to help you with it. Tangina, I assume that you're not a done-for-you client, so you're in the course. That's why you're asking. And so how do you go about getting them? You need to reach out to them personally, and you need to say something like this. Hi, you may or may not know that I've recently published a new book. I've not launched it to everybody yet. I'm only telling my close friends, family members, and clients that the book is available, and I have it listed for 99 cents. I have it listed, at 10% what it will be selling for, because I'm only telling you, I want you to download a copy of it, please. Just read 2 or 3 chapters, and please give me a review on Amazon. That would mean the world to me, ... Okay? Now, you do that. You tell them to only read a couple of chapters because it's hard for them to read the whole thing. Even your mom will say, hey, I'd love to give you a review, honey, for your book, and then she won't do it, because she's like, it's still sitting on her desk, and she's watching Days of Our Lives and doesn't have time to get to the book and blah, 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 right? So I don't know if she's watching Days of Our Lives. But, so you know what I mean. No one has time. But everyone has time to read a chapter or two. And so that way they can read a chapter or two, and then they can just give you a review based on the chapter or two that they read, so that it's legitimate, okay? That's how you get reviews. You make it as simple as possible for the people you're asking for reviews from. Jill says, I mean Paul, not Phil. I have that stuck in my head. Gotcha. Let's see. Thanks, Rob. You the man. Money signs. Love it. Steven says, can I sell black and white cookbook? I have a lot of awesome, it's not Steven, it's Joanna. It still says Steven. I guess that's your husband, or that's what the account is under. Can I sell a black and white cookbook? I have a lot of awesome success stories of clients and my own. So can you? Yes. You can do anything that you want to do, but it may make it harder, right? It depends what the goal of the book is. Like I'm doing other books for clients that are in the fitness and eating healthy niches. And those books are black and white because they're not heavily focused on, the actual foods themselves. They're not focused just on recipes, etc. If it is just focused on recipes, then, I mean, I don't know too many black and white cookbooks. I'm not going to tell you can't do it, but I don't know too many black and white cookbooks. So, if it's a pure cookbook and recipe book, then, you need to be open to it being full color. So hopefully that helps. Christy, who do you use for printing your books? So we print all of our books via print on demand through Amazon. So Amazon, Christy, when your book is ready and when we publish it for you, and you're obviously one of our done for you clients, we'll help you with all of those elements, and you'll have an account on Amazon that you can print it for cost. And you can print 5 copies or 1,000, and it's virtually the same price. It's pretty inexpensive because Amazon has such great services. Now, you can print, I could print this. This is, like I said, under $3 to print, and it's gorgeous. I mean, it's matte finish, beautifully done. You've seen it. It's bookstore quality. If I went to China, I could probably print that same book for under $1. And I probably will begin doing that because as I launch my free plus shipping funnel, I'm going to need to send a few thousand copies of my book to the fulfillment company. So I will start doing some Chinese printing. At the moment, I'm only printing 100, 200 at a time, and I'm happy to do that through Amazon and have those. We have like tons of boxes sitting in the other room. I'm happy to do that. But as I ramp up my free plus shipping funnel, which, as you know, I talked about this weekend, I believe I'll be selling. My goal is to sell 50 to 100 books a day through the free plus shipping funnel. And if I'm selling 1,500 to 3,000 books a month through that funnel, I am going to do it as cheaply as I can, and that will be done through China. So I'll keep everyone abreast of that process. Jeannie says, I can learn what the limits are for photos. I want my book to be about $20 on Amazon. Can I get some input for number types of photos? My book is recipe driven, so photos are important. How many can I have? Jeannie, there is no way to answer that. It is really done via Amazon. And, Mia, check out Mia's book. I mean, she's got color photos on almost every page, and they're beautiful photos. You've seen the book. It's gorgeous. It's well done. In fact, let me just go on Amazon right now, and I'll tell you what her book is listed for. I don't think you're going to be able to sell it for $20. I think you're going to have to sell it for more than that. But there's no way to answer that. We're just going to have to plug it into Amazon and see what Amazon tells us. So Mia's book right now is selling for $35. And there are some options as low as $27.50. So I'm going to assume there are some other paperback books that look like recipe books selling for as low as $24. So I'm going to assume that you probably can get it a little lower depending on how many pictures you have. But, I think somewhere in the $25 range is going to be about the range that you're looking at. Maybe you could get it as low as $20 without much profit to you. It'll be pretty skinny at that point. But, there's no way to know until we plug it in and Amazon tells us. Jill says, I'll look into Call Fire. Awesome. Christy says, awesome. Thank you. You're welcome. Gene says, hi, Rob. I want to write a book to help launch my creativity coaching practice. I do speak English most days. I've listened to your first 2 trainings, but creativity is quite ethereal, so I don't have milestones or an action plan. I'm working on that. Question, have you ever helped someone write about creativity and any success stories that you can share? So you'd have to be more specific about what you mean by creativity, but like you said yourself, Gene, you're working on milestones and an action plan. There exists a way for you to create milestones and an action plan within your thing. Like we've done books, we've done very spiritual focused books that you would say are far more ethereal than creativity is. And creativity, obviously very ethereal in that idea, but there is a way to kind of ignite the creative juices and passions within somebody. So the short version is we've done tons of books on content like this, and we're pretty good at drawing that content out of you. But the key is, you are going to, if you're trying to create something practical to help people to lock, unlock their creative juices and their flow, then you're going to have to create some practicality to it and some milestones. We can absolutely help you with that. It is something that you can do. It's a matter of we got to unlock your creative juices to get all that stuff out. And absolutely you can do it. Christy says, okay, interesting. Keep me posted. I promise you I will. Gene, let me know that I answered that for you okay, and that makes sense. Let me know if you have a question about that. Jill says, Rob is the king of systems. Thank you. Thank you. Some systems I'm really good at. Others, maybe not so much. What kind of ads do you think work best for advertising a webinar? Any examples of a short script? So the simple way to do this, Jill, is I'm gonna give you a shortcut. I'm gonna share my screen for all of you so that you can see how this works. You might not even know this, but I'm gonna go on to Facebook right now, and I am going to go on my bestseller publishing page. And I am going to show you there is a little link here called Info and Ads, right? This is for people that run ads on their pages. Facebook now has this transparency thing where they actually show you all of the ads that somebody runs. So I'm showing you something very insightful here. So my suggestion, rather than just tell you, here's a script. I can't just tell you there's a certain script. Go on my page and look at my ads. Now, all these ads are for my $1 Million Author Summit coming up on October 26th and 27th. But I have other ads that are running for webinars. Here's one of my ads for my free plus shipping funnel. Here's another $1 Million Author Summit ad. So we run ads on a regular basis for our various things. Look at my ads. You've commented on my ads, a bunch before. And, so go back. If you ever see a webinar ad, for example, save that ad so that you can go back and look at it. And you can go into infos and ads, and you can see the stuff that's working for us. Because if it's running right now, it is working for us. So just stroll through my ads and you'll see exactly what ads are working for us regarding webinars or anything else. Hopefully that makes sense. So you go to the page, then you click Info and Ads, and you can see all the ads. It's complete transparency now with Facebook. You can see all the ads that anybody is sharing on their Facebook stuff. Okay, hopefully that helps. Gene says, that's great to hear. Thanks, Rob. I'll stay focused on the training, I guess. Sure, happy to have a call as well. If you want to set up a call, Gene, with one of our author development coaches, they can kind of walk you through, okay, here's some examples and here's some ways that you can get it. So you can set up a call with David or Austin about that, and they can talk to you about how we might be able to help you with coming up with that stuff. Let's see. I use Chinese Stephen, which is Joanna. Again, if I use my Chinese printers, can I still use your distribution system since I'm on your program? It's not my distribution system, it's Amazon's. So unfortunately, Amazon is print on demand. Now, there may be some ways with Amazon to do that. I have never encountered that. So it's good that you have Chinese printers. I would suggest what you do is use your Chinese printers for anything that you do yourself and fulfill through a fulfillment company. Like what I'm going to be doing with my free plus shipping funnel is I have a fulfillment company that's going to be sending all these out. I can send out 2 or 3 of these a day, but I'm planning on doing 100 of these a day. I don't want my employees, my partners here at BSP, focused on that. So I'm going to have a fulfillment company, and it'll cost me I don't know, $1 or $2. I'll let you know the details of that, but I'm going to have ShipZoom do that and let them fulfill it. So I'm going to have to send them, maybe 1,000 copies of my book at a time to get it done. And a Chinese company should be able to do that for under $1. So that's what I'd suggest, Joanna. Do you have any highly recommended speaker agents? I always negotiate on my own and feel I could make much more. Once the bestseller book is out, you can. And if someone else did the heavy lifting for my speaking gigs, maybe. So maybe, you know, obviously, if you want to have somebody negotiate, they're going to take a big piece of that pie. Do I know some agents? I don't really know agents. I'm going to be speaking to one tomorrow that was referred to me. I don't know any that I would like highly recommend that will do the negotiating, but I'd say number one, if people are coming to you, then just negotiate it yourself. You're going to get the most money for it. Start high, right? You know, double your price once the book is out and it's a bestseller. That's a good beginning. Instead of 10K, 20K. That's a good way to begin, and then see where it goes from there. But as far as a speaker agent, I'll let you know how the conversation goes tomorrow. Just reach out to me and check my email, okay? I'm going to email you about the referral that you sent me. And thank you, by the way, for referring someone to me. I do love referrals for any of you that like us and appreciate our service, so please keep us in mind for referrals. And so thank you again for the referral, but I do have a question. So check for my email. I'll be sending it to you again right after. Jill says, that's really good information. Thank you. It does make sense. I have seen ads before, then they disappear. So I just learned about the info and ads button. Cool. Yes, that's a big tip right there. Joanna says, I still need to be on Amazon for the U.S. market. Yes, absolutely. You need to be on Amazon. You need to be on Amazon for the worldwide market because they're by far the biggest platform in the space. I mean, like the next 10 platforms combined don't sell as much as Amazon does on a daily basis. So what I was suggesting, Joanna, is have everything sell through Amazon, but anything that you're going to fulfill yourself, anything that you're selling on your own website, anything that you're selling through advertising, have your Chinese printers do that and either fulfill it yourself or have a fulfillment company do it for you. Anything that Amazon sells, hey, let them sell. They're your partner. You keep the royalties and profits. What I tell people, and I'll be sharing more of this with you, but I have my book for sale for $24.95 right now on Amazon. And it's selling every day. It has remained in the top 10 in its categories since the day I launched it. And so it's selling, and I'm making royalties. But what I tell people on my free plus shipping funnel is, hey, I will give it to you for free. All you have to do is pay $7.95 for shipping, or you can go to Amazon and buy it for $24.95. But why would you do that, right? You can get it here for $7.95, which includes the shipping cost. So I am competing against Amazon. Why? Because I want the lead. I want that person that says they're interested in my content. I want to communicate with that person and for that person to be on my list, not Amazon's list. So is it best to market yourself and start raising your rates? Mind reading. I haven't had good success with agents. Yeah, it is. Absolutely it is. That's what we recommend, is marketing yourself and raising your rates, 100%. Will do. I want to refer more. Please. Thank you. He was so hyped on working with you, but I'll answer in the email. Yeah, I need some help with that. And Joanne, I did not see this on TV testimonial offer. China only does volume like 1,000+ copies. Yes. Yeah, I don't quite know what you mean by I did not see the on TV testimonial offer. So I'm not totally sure what you mean by that. And yes, China only does volume, right? That's why it's so cheap. Under $1, but you got to do 1,000 copies or whatever. So you're only going to want to do that for your own, your own fulfillment. Oh, the stuff I offered at the Zone. I haven't started at the Zone event. I offered one of the things that I offered is our PR Experts program. I will be sending an email out this week to everybody that purchased that because I will be starting on, I believe it's Wednesday the 24th, I think is the date. So we have not started yet, and I will be sending an email if there's anybody on this training right now. Don't worry, you'll be getting an email for the start dates. So I was planning on starting it this week, but I'm actually starting it a week later. So hopefully that makes sense, Joanna. Good. Great questions. Good stuff. What else can I answer for you? We've been going for about 40 minutes, so hopefully this is really helpful to you. Please keep in mind what I shared in the beginning because that's really gold. You want to create content that's both compelling, but that also pre-sells working with you. And it's not like that's swarmy or something underhanded. No, you want to be able to put that person in the shoes of your successful case studies. And so you've got to give us your successful case studies, and you've got to share those things, and you've got to lay those things out. They are in many ways more important than you sharing your personal story. Anyway, great. I don't see any other questions. You guys are terrific. Talk to you next week. Have a great day.